Right, my vacuum jig was not holding. Made a brand new one and it wasn't holding there. I changed out all my chucks right here and re-drilled them, put Teflon tape on there, and even re-drilled this, put a different gasket in there, and I was thinking, what is going on? And so the next thing I did is I thought, so I went to bed last night, I was a little aggravated, and I thought, why isn't that holding it down? And then through the night, it kind of occurred to me that, is that vacuum pump oil getting old? And so now I have just stubbed out the vacuum pump right here where it's just coming out of there, and I've got a valve shut off on it. And I'm only pulling 22 inches of mercury where it'll peg it right here with fresh oil. So, you know, that's my problem. It wasn't my jig all the time, and I'm sitting there looking for leaks, and what happened is this stuff wore out, and it's been running probably 50 hours. And I just vented it outside a day or two ago and was running it. So I'm going to take the thing and change the oil on it. I'm just letting it warm up. I'm going to change the oil on it and put some new mineral oil in it, and we'll see what happens then. So while that's warming up, we'll just let that thing go, and I imagine it'll come up to 29 here in a second. All right, just to let you know, this is probably 16 fluid ounces. There's probably 4 ounces in here, and I'm going to put that in there and see where we come up on that one. That one's down there at the very minimum, below minimum. I'm going to fill it up with that, see where we're at. Okay, well, I put that 4 ounces probably in there, and she brought it up to right there at the max level. We're going to fire it up and see what level that thing takes off on this pump now. That's the filter. It basically just lifts up and slides in there. And then this is the shelf. It's on a French cleat. I did put a screw down there in the bottom of it, and I do need to move that over 1/4 inch to make it perfectly plumb, but it's level. It's just not perfectly plumb, but it's close enough. And we'll put that thing back on the shelf. All right, we're at 26 ounces of mercury. If I close this off, and all I'm looking at is this line right here up to the gauge and to this point here, so about 1.5 foot of stuff, and it's just sitting there and locked in. It's not changing. And then there's my pump over there, and it's not changing whenever I move this lever. Uh, 25 psi of mercury. It makes you kind of wonder, you know, look at the stuff that's in that little globe. Little pieces of plastic that's down inside that little globe where it's caught, pieces of plastic. I did have one of these ports that was plugged right here. I couldn't blow through it, and this one here was barely could blow through it. So I'm kind of anxious to plug it in and see what I get out of it now. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is dump the oil out of that and change it and put the mineral oil in it and try it. And then the last thing I will do to try and get back up to 29 is go get some regular vacuum pump oil, but we're going to try this first. All right, just topped it off with brand new mineral oil. We'll see if this does the trick. If it doesn't, we're going to go get some vacuum pump oil and put it in here. So let's give it a fire up. And we got the thing shut off to this point here. Okay. Well, it's only running 23 pounds of pressure right off of the pump. So, I mean, I can take that thing and move it right over there and get rid of these, get rid of this 25-foot piece of hose, which I'll do that right now. All right, I'm at 26 inches of mercury on my hose. I don't know if the new oil got in the pump and let it work up in there a little bit. It's holding down 26 inches of mercury now at the gauge, and problematic at best. Okay, well, I went down to buy another filter because I knew I was getting something going on here. And so when I took it off, this was full of plastic shavings from the machine, some sawdust, and it was almost full. This whole cavity was full. There was stuff down inside the filter cap that had made it through that was doing that. There wasn't any going out to my pump though, but it was almost plugged in. You couldn't see through it. So right now I've got this holding this board on there, this jig. I mean, it's basically, I'm lifting it up off the table, and I can't get my hand over both of that, but I've got one port right here that's not as tight as it needs to be, and I'm kind of curious what that is, but I'm going to look at that. But with the valve, everything else is just as tight as can be, and and there's just gasket material down underneath there, and it's been holding almost 11 pounds, 11 inches of pressure. So anyway, it's kind of odd to mess with this. I bought a different filter to put in up there by the pump, and I'm going to put that in right there just so that I can protect the pump no matter what. And I was thinking about taking this out here, but when it's all sealed up and it's not clogged, it actually works. So I don't know if I'll just have to do maintenance on it from time to time. But if I, turn the thing off and just let the back run, I can tell, when I get a leak. So basically, if I take all my fittings, turn it off, then I can maintain my vacuum in this thing, and I can tell if I have any leaks or not. Of course, I don't have that with the suction on there. If there's no suction on there, it will eventually give up and come out. But anyway, so there is where I'm at with this now. I was just noticing this right here. I see a little bit of bubbling right there next to that. I have that can full of t-shirts. I may take that out and just leave the Velcro, or not the Velcro, but the Scotch-Brite in there and let it vent outside, because it's keeping a little bit of a pressure on it where it's trying to go through it. I'm not getting any stuff coming out at me, but hey. So anyway, this air pressure thing, is vacuum thing is kind of funny. So it's still running there. I'm keeping right at 12 inches of mercury on there. My board's still clamped down on there. So I've got to go get a couple 3/8 inch couplings for this and put it on the pump. I'm going to get a couple of these kind of fittings, the shark fittings that go into 3/8, so that I can take this in and out. So it's so much easier to troubleshoot is whenever you can pull something out of the loop real quick. Anyway, my jig is actually working. So that's of course that's a piece of vinyl, so I don't know what I'll do on a piece of oak or cedar. All right, I got kind of a love-hate relationship with this. I've come back to this thing twice. Anyway, this has a minor leak in it. It's an air pressure filter, not a vacuum filter. So I ended up going to this. It's a $19 filter, costs probably $20 with tax. Then I've got the compression fittings that go in it, and then I got the NFT shark bites that go into that, and that holds 29 inches of pressure on it, so it'll hold it and stay with it, so that's good. This one here was leaking off on me. It did save my pump a couple times because I would pull stuff out there, I could unscrew it, but it's not designed for that vacuum. It's not designed for that. So I'm going to put that over there in my list. And so I have my pressure set up, and I'm going to modify a few more things. Okay, well, that's a pegged meter with all the way from my pump. I moved my filter right there and used a gas filter and compression fittings into the gas filter, and then brought it out to NFPT and just left me a little on there. Then I put me a cutoff here so I can check vacuum from there all the way to that point there. So I'm sitting there at 29 psi, or not psi, but inches of mercury, and that's just the vacuum that's in between that coupler there, all the way through the line, through this, through the valve, through the gauge, up into all of these up to this point here, and so there I am. I've got 30 psi or inches of mercury, and it's staying put. I had to take that other gauge out. That's a pressure gauge. I put them up on top of the air compressor for air pressure. Vacuum pressure requires a little bit. This is a air pressure ball, but it's holding. So, you know, we'll just see how that works for the long run. But all them little plastic valves, they all 100%, all the elbows, everything's doing good. My board here, just it'll pull it down, stick tight like it originally was. I did replace the fresh oil on that, but I'm not sold out that was the issue until I discovered that my filter up there that was in the service was causing everything to leak. So now I've got it to where it'll hold, 29 inches of mercury up to the jig itself. So, and that's what the pump turned off and just isolated. So that's good. I'm glad that's success. And I put this thing together. I'm getting 12 pounds of pressure on all six of these. So that's outstanding. I will say that this kit that I got off the internet that had all these, I had like, I don't know, 70 pieces or so inside there, corners, T's, valves, $11.99, and I was paying $12.99 for one valve at Lowe's. About $12.99 for that one valve, and I got a whole pack plus a whole bunch more for $11.99. Melted my house. I have a shipping and everything. I mean, I got most of the valves out of that, but there's corners and T's and stoppers on there and all that good stuff. So also I do have this going on in that webbing on there, and it holds it down. So we'll do that. I did change out one of my rubbers on this one side here and put in the foam in there because my pressure valve was leaking, and that was what was causing my problem. So anyway, but that pressure valve did keep the stuff out of the pump, so that's good. So there we are. We have success.